Everything you need to know about investing in Hermes, Part 1. Welcome to my newest 2024 series where we talk about Hermes as an investment, how to invest in Hermes, what to buy, what not to buy, how to take care of your Hermes pieces, and so forth. In this video, we will be talking about the worst bags you can buy from Hermes for investment purposes. These are bags that don't hold their value, that if you buy them, you are more likely to lose money than not, and bags that don't really appreciate that much. I want you to make educated decisions when it comes to your shopping at Hermes, and if investment and smart financial decisions are of a concern to you, then you should definitely watch this video to not make these mistakes. And if you do decide to buy these bags, you will be more aware that you're buying them solely for your enjoyment purposes and not investment purposes. Let's get into it. Let me start by saying my personal position on Hermes bag investments, and then we will transition into which pieces are the worst investments. While I buy my bags for my personal enjoyment and the kind of bags that I like, I always have this notion in the back of my mind that I'm not wasting tens of thousands of dollars. I think that if Hermes was, in my eyes, a waste of money, so meaning that I would spend $10,000 on a bag and it would become zero the minute I walk out of the store. I don't think that I would have as many. Again, I love Hermes bags and I would still keep buying them, but I just don't think that I would have as many. Now, because I think that my money is protected whenever I'm buying Hermes bags and I'm actually making money, aka girl math, it makes me more confident to buy more bags and sort of experiment, because not only do I like the bags, but it's also not a bad financial decision. So that's why I keep buying so many bags. So now we established that buying Hermes bags is a good financial decision, but here comes the key. Not all of the bags are a good financial decision, and not all of the Hermes bags appreciate the same way as other Hermes bags. So let's get into which bags are not the best investment. If you're new to Hermes, there is quota bags and non-quota bags. Quota bags are usually Birkin and a Kelly, sometimes a Constance, and sometimes other Hermes bags that are in exotic leathers that are not Birkin or Kelly are considered quota bags in certain stores. But usually whenever people talk about Hermes quota bags, they're referring to either a Kelly, pictured here, or a Birkin. And non-quota bags are a variety of other bags that Hermes makes, such as Picotin, Evelyne, 2424, Garden Party, Ruli, and many other bags that I have not just mentioned right now. So typically non-quota bags are not such a good investment as quota bags. Quota bags will always be considered more desirable than non-quota bags. Sometimes when you purchase non-quota bags, they lose value. Sometimes the bags will hold value, meaning you go into the store, you pay $3,000 for a bag. A year or two later, you want to sell the same bag and it's in good condition, and you will get the $3,000 that you paid for. So that means the bag holds its value, but it doesn't appreciate. So most non-quota bags are like that. You will either lose or the bag will hold value. Very rarely they will appreciate a little bit. Like for example, the Constance, again, it's a very elusive bag. Sometimes it's considered a quota bag, sometimes it's not a quota bag, but sometimes it will hold the value or appreciate a little bit more. A Picotin is another one that will most likely hold the value or even appreciate a touch. Those are probably the only two non-quota bags that will either one, hold the value. Again, it's depending on the condition, on the color, on the size. Usually the mini sizes are a lot more desirable than large sizes. So like a large Picotin or a Constance 24 might not hold the value as well as a Picotin 18 or a mini Constance 18, for example. And now moving on to Hermes quota bags. This is a very exciting realm, and obviously the value of the Hermes bags drives just so many other businesses that is not just Hermes, like as an Hermes store. There's so many different resellers, there's so many different auction houses that love to resell Hermes bags, pre-loved stores and things like that. So it's sort of like a world of its own, Hermes, resale value, Hermes as an investment. I have been in this world for quite some time. These are some general rules. Let me know if you agree to them or not in the comments, but this is my personal opinion. Let's start with which Hermes quota bags are not a good investment, in terms of which Hermes quota bags are not likely to resell for more than what you bought them for. Like I mentioned, Hermes bags, bigger sizes are not as desirable. By bigger sizes, I mean Kelly 32, Kelly 35, Kelly even sometimes 28. 28 is considered a classic size. It can go either or. It's sort of similar to the Birkin 30. It can go either or. But I want to say the cut off of the sizes that are considered desirable and not desirable in a Birkin, it is 30. So anything above 30, Birkin 35, Birkin 40, you might actually lose a little bit of money on those bags. And the same goes with Kelly. So Kelly 35, Kelly 32, you might lose a little bit of money here and there depending on the condition and when you purchase the bag. So the longer you hold the bag, usually the more the value increases. So for example, like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, obviously the prices for these bags were much less than they are right now because the prices increase every year. So the longer you hold the bag, the more likely you're going to get a good return on your investment. But let's say you just went to a store and you bought a Kelly 32 and you want to resell it brand new today, you might even lose a little bit of value or get the same amount of money that you paid for it, depending on the country that you purchased. Again, there's so many variables in this. Obviously, in Europe, we have the least expensive Hermes bags, so if you were to resell, you're a lot less likely to lose money. But if you get these bags in Latin America, they can be ×2 or ×2.5 sometimes the European price. They are double of the American in certain countries, so those bags are very, very expensive. So if you were to buy a Birkin 35, let's say somewhere in Brazil or Argentina or Chile, and you wanted to resell, most likely you will be losing money. Now that we've established that bigger Hermes bags usually have less of an ROI than smaller Hermes quota bags, let's get into the second most important factor, in my opinion, when it comes to Hermes bag resale value, which is the leather. So the leathers that will have the worst resale value are the leathers that damage easily. Let's talk about the original heritage Hermes box leather. Box leather is an amazing purchase for real Hermes collectors. We see the value in the box leather because it's an original heritage leather. It is such a classic and timeless, and Hermes actually didn't used to make that much of it. We saw last year a big increase in the box leathers. I will tell you why in a second. But let's go back to why box leather is not the best financial decision. Because, well, as most of you might have guessed, it scratches a lot. It is a shiny leather that will show any and all imperfections. One of my friends got this exact bag last year. Is a mini Kelly with palladium hardware, but it's in box leather. And she told me that when she went to the store, the box had her name on it. It was, like sort of sealed. So nobody has opened that bag in her store before, but when she took out the bag, she noticed mini scratches. She said that it's most likely from when they were packing the Mini Kelly in Paris that they scratched the bag a little bit. It is that prone to scratches. Some people say that you can buff out the scratches, and some people say that the scratches on the box leather is how the bag is meant to be worn, and that is totally okay. But regardless of what people say, it has the worst resale value because it damages so easily. Box leather will typically go between 20 and 30% less of the same bag that is in Togo or Epsom leather. So like a Kelly 28 in box, Celia in box will usually be 20 to 30% less of the same bag if it was going, like I mentioned, in Togo or Epsom leather, just because of the scratches. Now that brings me to the other part, that box leather is actually about 20 to 25% more expensive when you buy directly from the Hermes store, because it is a heritage leather, and I actually don't know why it's more expensive, but I know that it is more expensive. So just to compare again, I got this bag at 2023 prices, Mini Kelly Epsom leather, Celia style, palladium hardware. It was $8,900 in the US plus tax. My friend got this bag for, I believe it was around $12,000. I'm not sure if it was tax was included or not, but I think it was between 11 and a half to 12 and a half, maybe with tax was like around 12 and a half or so, which is super expensive just because of the leather difference. I think that box is the single most expensive leather that you can buy that is non-precious leathers in the eyes of Hermes. So not ostrich, not croc, not alligator, not lizard, but a standard normal leather. And that's why I think that we have seen an increase in the box leathers, especially being offered in Paris, and they offer box in even non-quota bags, Constance. I think it's because this is a way of Hermes to sort of weed out the resellers, because the resellers, they don't like box leather, and true Hermes lovers and collectors will always appreciate box leather by Hermes. The same goes for Swift leather. Swift leather is also very prone to scratches. There is pros and cons to Swift leather, but I feel like cons easily outweigh the pros in this instance when it comes to the resale value. So the pros of the Swift leather is that it holds color like no other. Swift just absorbs the color, and it's a very good option for brighter colors, or if you want to see like a certain color being more saturated. But again, it scratches a lot. It is not the best when it comes to the resale value for investment purposes. First, it's much harder to keep it in good condition because of the scratches, and second, it just is not worth as much in the resale market. And lastly, we will finish up with the Hermes hardware. So palladium hardware is considered the least appealing, and gold hardware or other hardwares like permabrass, rose gold, they're usually worth more in the eyes of the resellers than palladium hardware. Of course, when it comes to like certain bags like the Mini Kelly hardware, it doesn't really matter, but let's say in a Kelly 28, gold hardware can add $1,000 to $2,000 to the resale value versus palladium. So this is sort of a well-known fact. I want to say on average, if you do care about the resale value of the bag, avoid certain leathers and don't invest in bags that are bigger sizes, because usually bigger sizes in Hermes, they will have the least resale value. But that's not all, and this video is getting a little bit too long, so for part 2 I'm going to be talking about the best bags to invest in at Hermes. We will be talking about normal quota bags versus limited editions, and we will be talking about the bags that have the craziest ROI, which is return on your investment, to sometimes 500% to 800%, which is insane. So stay tuned for part 2.